Charlie Rose? John Conyers? Oh my God. This thing is rolling on and rolling on, and you know, as I keep saying, I think that this is we're looking at a major cultural shift here in the United States. And frankly, I think it's happening all over the world. In fact, I think that this happened in Sweden about 2 decades ago, because Sweden really changed their laws on sexual assault. I mean, really changed their laws to the point that, Julian Assange is being charged with rape for having, I believe, now, I may be wrong on the details of this, but I don't think so. My recollection of the story was that, he had whatever, whether it was a date or whether he ended up in this woman's apartment or whatever, but they were together, they had sex, they went to sleep, and then in the middle of the night she woke up and he was having sex with her again, and without a condom. And the without a condom part was the part that got him to be prosecuted for rape. And that's a major change in cultural norms, shall we say. And arguably a major change for the better, right? This is for the Swedes, but here in the United States, we've got to figure this out. And I think, frankly, we are. And I think to a large extent, well, not to a large extent, I think some of this now is the consequence of 40 years of women coming into the workplace and acquiring positions of power. So there's enough female power now to push back against all the male power that has, dominated our culture and our society for 7,000 years. I mean, keep in mind, women weren't even allowed to vote in this country for the first half of our existence. And actually, the first 4/5 of our existence. So it seems to me that this is, number one, a good thing. Number two, an awakening. And number three, might it be time for us to look at something like a Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, when they experienced a major cultural shift. And again, from a situation that was odious and offensive, the apartheid, the specific exclusion of people of color from civil society and from access to the law, which, by the way, is not that different from the situation of women in the United States prior to 1920. Requiring men to sign for that. Well, hell, I remember in the 1970s, wives had to have their husbands sign for them to get a credit card or a bank loan, or in many cases, even a job. I mean, it's just, a lot has changed for the better. So when South Africa went through this change, they said, okay, we've got all new rules here. And there were people operating under the old rules, and if they come forward and confess their sins, confess their crimes, there will be no punishment other than the societal disapprobation that you would expect. And people availed themselves of it, and the argument is that it healed society. Now, it'd be interesting to talk to somebody from South Africa. Do you really feel that this healed society, or did this simply facilitate a transition, a governmental transition without violence, which was a fine thing, but we're not looking at quite that kind of situation here. But it's reaching the point where, there's this kind of dark humor over Democratic Underground underpants posted, uh-oh, we have an accusation against Bernie Sanders. And you click on the headline, and it's a picture of Bernie, and above the top of it, it says, another young woman has come forward accusing Bernie Sanders of trying to get her free college. And then, I look at that and I think, should I even say this on the air? Because, some right-winger might clip a little piece of that out, like the headline. Because, as far as anybody knows, so far, nobody's accused Bernie of anything other than trying to get free college and health care to people. But, and John Conyers this morning, this guy's 88 years old. He's been around for a long, long time. And who saw this coming? This $27,000 settlement that was, according to BuzzFeed, that his office paid to a woman with a confidentiality agreement to settle a claim. Conyers told the Associated Press this morning he knows nothing of these claims of inappropriate touching and learned of the story from television just hours earlier. He said, I've been looking at these things in amazement. The Keith Boykin. Well, Twitter moments this morning, a report by the Washington Post, 8 women have come forward with stories of Charlie Rose's repeated harassment, groping, and other sexual misconduct. Keith Boykin tweets, Anthony Weiner is in prison, Bill Clinton was impeached, Bill O'Reilly, Roger Ailes, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Mark Halperin were fired. Al Franken and Charlie Rose apologized. Glenn Thrush was suspended. Louis C.K. was canceled. When will Donald Trump be held accountable? Which is a really interesting question. Right? I mean, Donald Trump in 1997, 2000, 2001, and 2006, various women have come forward saying that Donald Trump came back into the dressing rooms when they were naked and changing. And this was Miss USA, Miss Universe, and the Miss Teen USA pageants that Trump owned. And in fact, in a 2005 interview in the Howard Stern show, he said that he could, quote, get away with things like that, at least backstage, at the pageants, at the adult pageants. This from the Wikipedia page on Donald Trump's sexual misconduct allegations, of all places. But Jessica Leeds in the 1980s, Kristen Anderson in the 1990s, Kathy Heller in 1997, Temple Taggart McDowell in 1997, Karina Virginia in 1998, Minnie McGilvery in 2003, Rachel Crooks in 2005, Natasha Stoynoff in 2005, Jessica Drake 2006, Ninnie Lackinson in 2006, an unnamed friend in 2010, and Cassandra Searles in 2013. All of these people, with the exception of the unnamed friend, on the record accusing Donald Trump of sexually inappropriate behavior. Specifically, all of these, unwanted physical contact. He's been accused of rape by 3 people, Ivana Trump, Jill Harth, and Summer Zervos, although Ivana has walked back her specific accusation. And then allegations of pageant dressing rooms, the Miss Teen USA contestants, Bridget Sullivan, Tasha Dixon, Samantha Halvey. I mean, these women did not come forward because they thought they were going to get a $1 million book deal. They did not come forward because they thought they were going to be applauded and loved in the media. They came forward at great risk to themselves because of what Donald Trump was doing. And, you know, on it goes. So what do we do about this? I'm not sure that a Truth and Reconciliation Commission is necessarily even a good idea because it implies, you know, basically no punishment. This is not the rapid, the old way ends and the new way begins today by law that South Africa saw this. So it's a very, very imperfect analogy, and I'm not sure one that even works. But